Listing, preparing for the meeting. My name is Warren. I'm the VP of Sales here at ProspectNow.com. Oh, darn it.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. Welcome to today's Prospect webinar entitled Secure the CRE Listing, Preparing for the Meeting. My name is Warren Nagatani. I'm the VP of Sales here at Prospect Now. We have a distinct pleasure of having Brendan Erickson from REI Wise as our special guest today on the webinar. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. We've got a bunch of people scrambling to get on this, and so I'm going to give them a few minutes to finish that process. In the meantime, I've got a poll for you. It's 4 questions. You do not need to participate, but if you can, that would be great, because that really helps Brendan and I with what we do with the products moving forward. We want to make sure that our products are exactly what you need, as you run your business. And so to that effect, I'm going to go and launch this poll. You'll see some questions on your screen. Just go ahead and hit those up and answer them, and then I'll share them with you as we go. So we've got 4 questions, and here comes the first one. So all you need to do is answer the questions, and they'll be up for about 30 seconds or so, and then we'll share them, and then we'll move on, and by the time we get done, hopefully everybody will be on. All right, I'm going to share that with you. On your screen, you should be able to see the results of that. So you can kind of see the demographic of the people that are on this webinar today. No surprise, investment brokerage and leasing head the way. But let's get to the second question here. So let me go ahead and launch that. Second out of 4. So go ahead and answer these as well, and then we'll share those and go on to the next. All right, just sharing that. That obviously is almost the same question, but it's asked in a little bit of a different way. And so to me, it's important to understand what you're doing so I can show you how to really effectively utilize Prospect Now. Let's go to the third question real quickly. That's an interesting question. The answers, when I look at that, that just shows me there's a lot of different sources that are available for building owner information, and that many of you use multiple sources. And so to me, that tells me that this stuff is super important for you to know, but this is time consuming. So let's go ahead and go to the last question, then we'll begin the webinar. All right, so that was the last question. Those are the results. You can see that obviously reaching the owner of a property is paramount to success. I mean, that's kind of silly, but it's accurate. So this is the kind of stuff that you all are looking for. So let me go ahead and let's go ahead and get started with the webinar now. So welcome. My name is Warren. I'm the VP of Sales here. Steve is not with us today. He's on the road, and he sends his profuse apologies for not being able to attend. But this is the second of a series in terms of commercial real estate broker productivity. Last week, Steve spoke about his experience in cold calling and what are the best techniques to utilize to be an effective cold caller. This week, we're going to talk about the next step in the process so that you've gotten that meeting, and now you want to prepare for that meeting. And that's why, one of the reasons why Brendan Erickson's with us from REI is we think they have a tremendous program that really helps you be successful in that meeting. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to just do a real quick recap of the cold calling techniques for brokers that Steve shared with us last week. Then we're going to get into finding sales comps, verifying comp information, and then even finding possible buyers utilizing Prospect Now. Then we're going to turn it over to Brendan and REI Wise. He's going to show you how effective REI Wise is and how you guys can use that to your best advantage. So Steve spoke at length about cold calling techniques and having the right frame of mind and having, knowing that sales is an honorable profession and all of that, and what are the barriers to being a great cold caller. And what I want to do is just reiterate how important those things are. But the thing that I want to really focus in on is this anatomy of a great call. He talked about having a structure to the call, the introduction, and being able to break through that preoccupation that the person that's on the other end of the phone has, and using the right tonality to be able to get to that person. Asking a question, at least a question, hey, I understand you own this building. Are you interested in selling? Yes or no? Wait for the response. Don't feel the need to fill the gap of silence. Silence is actually your friend. It forces the other person to respond, okay? The idea of being your authentic self, all right? Be who you are. Don't be somebody else, all right? And just have a genuine desire to help the prospect. Be genuine. And of course, like in any good sales call, ask for the meeting because that's your goal. Okay? So let me take you through a real quick demo. So now that you have that, the background of last week, let's kind of go through this real quickly. So the first thing I'm going to do is do this recap of how to find people to call on. In other words, and I'm going to focus on investment sales. Who do I call to get a listing? So I'm going to go to Long Beach, California in Prospect Now. And this just takes a second. So this is going to go to the database, going to pull every property, commercial, industrial, multifamily, recreational in the city of Long Beach, California. Okay. Then what we want to do is the ability to focus in and target. Okay, so segment who you're going to market to. To me, the people that are going to be most effective to call on are people that have a pending event. If they have a balloon coming due, they either need to pay that balloon off or they need to refinance. If they don't have enough equity, they're not going to be able to refinance and they need to sell. Henceforth, their urgency to want to hear what you have to say. All right, so I'm going to go in here to Long Beach, and Long Beach has a lot of stuff in it, but it also has a lot of multifamily. And multifamily's hot. I'm going to choose multifamily. And maybe you want to find 10 units and up, okay? Now, here's where the targeting comes in. I can find everybody that bought a multifamily property 5 years ago in a date range. So the beauty of that is not all of these, but many of these. In fact, the majority of these are going to have 5-year notes. And because of that, they're going to need to pay that balloon off. And if they don't have enough equity, they're going to need to refinance. If they don't have enough equity, then they need you to sell their property for them, right? So let's do that. Multifamily, I think I'm in Long Beach. In Long Beach, 10 units and up, purchased in a corresponding time frame 5 years ago. Okay, so this is how Prospect Now can help you target. And Steve went through this last week, but I think this is a great way to refresh how we do this. And so what do we have? We have a list of 74 multifamily 10-unit properties and up in the city of Long Beach that bought 5 years ago. And as such, I can go through here and look at every single one of these, see the detail on the property itself. Here is a 14-unit property in Long Beach on East 5th Street. Here's the owner of the property. Here is the title holder. It's some sort of entity, an LLC in this case. We have a mailing address in Oakland. And one of the beautiful things that we do for you is, because it's an LLC, we go to the state, pull their corporation record, and we have a decision maker name. There it is, Christopher Linz. All right. So now that you have that name, mailing address, entity, you can look up the phone number in real time and get contact information. So there's Christopher. Boom. 510 area code in Oakland. You got it. Okay. So now what I can do here is pretty cool. I can actually save this record to my contact manager. All of the information on any property they own within that county, the phone number and all that stuff brings me right back here. Okay, so now, what are we doing? Okay, so what have we done? Let's say we're going to make that call, right? And you go through your process like Steve said, and to me, I want to highlight a couple of things. You know, the call kind of goes like this. Hey, Alan, I understand you own this property on, what was it, 1844 East 5th Street. Are you interested in selling that anytime soon? No, actually, I'm not. Okay? In fact, I'm kind of tired of people calling you. It's like, hey, this close right here is awesome because it takes it off of you. So the answer to that is, hey, Alan, no problem. No problem at all. I'm a really active broker here in Long Beach, and I hear you loud and clear that you're not going to do anything right now, but someday you may want to do something. I don't know if it's a 1031 or you want to refinance, you want to find some tenants, you want to sell. All I want to do is when that day comes, I just want the opportunity to earn your business. That's it. Okay? There's also the close. Then it's like this. Hey, Alan, you got 10 minutes for me? I'll drop by, just give you my card, show you some other stuff that's in the market. Okay? To me, those two closes are real effective ways of getting you to that meeting, and that's the objective of the call. So that's the recap of what Steve so eloquently last week showed us how to be more effective on the phone. So with that, let's go back to the demo. We have that meeting. We called, in this case, it wasn't Alan. We called Christopher. We've got the meeting. Okay, so congratulations. Step one of the cold call. Your objective is complete. You've got the meeting. It's on the calendar. Now the question is, what do I do? Remember, silence is your friend. I just used that on you. Okay, so now here's what I would do, okay? First thing I'm going to do is, what the heck is this property worth, right? So how do I do that, okay? I'm going to go and run some comps, okay? So how do I do that? So let's take a look at this. Let's look at the property first. And this is a 14-unit property in Long Beach, and it was purchased early in September of 2007, okay? So that's what I need to know. So let's go back to the advanced search and modify the search so that we find some comps. We have apartments chosen. We have Long Beach chosen. It was a 14-unit property, so maybe let's make this 12 to 18 units, something like that. I'm just throwing it out there. Make sure you have sale here. And the sale was early in September, so let's give it a 12-month range and put it right in the middle. So that would be, what, March 1st maybe of 2007 to, let's say, the end of February of 2008, okay? Oh, and by the way, the other thing you're going to want to do is put $1 here as a minimum sale price. Sometimes records don't have sale prices, okay? A comp without a sales price doesn't really do us any good, right? So you got that? Apartments, 12 to 18 units, sold during this time frame that have a sale price in the city of Long Beach. So I'm going to do that search. And just like that, I've got results for 17 that match that criteria. So these are all closely matching properties. Same city, same property type, same size, sold during the same period of time, okay? And you can even kind of see on this list view down here, this is pretty cool. You can go down here, and obviously you can see the owner and the address and all that kind of stuff. But you can see when it was purchased and the purchase price. And you can sort this if you want, okay? So now here's the beauty of this, in my opinion, okay? Not only do you have a list of comps, but now you already know the owners of all these guys, right? So now you can pick up the phone and verify all of this information, right? So here's what I would do. First thing for me is I've got my comps. I'm going to go like this and choose them. So I've got 17 comps. This isn't going to take long, but it's very valuable. I'm going to export this record, all these records, okay? And I'm going to export it to a file that's for REIYs. There it is. Now I'm going to download that file. Actually, I'm going to open it so you can see it. And there it comes. So now what this is going to do, we've exported these comps to a file. Okay? There's the address. These are the comps. Now here's what you do. You already have the owner information in Prospect Now. You can call up the owner of 535 East Adams and talk to them. Hey, listen, you know, my name's Warren. I've got a listing, you know, right around the corner from you. Thought you might be interested in hearing about it. I just want to ask you a couple of questions. You know, I understand you bought your property 5 years ago, and this was the purchase price. I want to verify that, you know, and, oh, by the way, what's your average rent? And, you know, how many, you know, what's your high rent? What's your low rent? You know, what's your cap rate? Ask them questions like that. Fill in this sheet, okay? That way you can get some specific information that's verified. And can you imagine going to your listing meeting and presenting something like this in a format that Brendan will show you in a minute? Now, that's going to be very impressive. You've done your homework. You're interested in not just getting the listing and throwing it on some listing service, but actively marketing the product, okay? And this is beautiful because now you're adding value. You're calling on another owner in the same area, and you can leverage that, right? Hey, listen, when I'm done with this report, I'll come by and drop it off and give it to you. You can see what other properties in your area that bought during your time frame, what they're charging and things like that. To me, if I owned a property, that would be invaluable to know, and I'd be welcome that meeting. So now not only do you have one meeting, you have two, and maybe three, and maybe four. Okay? So leverage what you're doing into other opportunities. All right. Let's go back, and I'll show you one other thing. I'm going to throw it out to to Brendan. One of the other things you could potentially do here is the following. You could find, for example, let's find that property first. What was the address of that property? Oh, yeah, there it is. Boom. Okay, so there's your subject property, the ones you got a listing for, right? So one of the things you can use Prospect Now for is identifying, is that the one? East 5th Street. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so let's make sure that's it. 14 units, yes. Okay, so great. So one of the things you can do here now is actually go on the map. Oops, I wonder what we're doing here. Want to make sure I did this right here. Hang on. Let's do, well, you don't have to do the street map. What you can do here is target potential buyers of the property, right? And to me, that's, again, going to be someone that already owns an apartment in that particular area. Now, you don't care when they bought it, right? You just care that they have it. Maybe you want it to be, 5 units and up. You don't want the quads in there or something like that. And maybe you want them to own 2 or 3 properties so that they're true investors, right? So you could do something like that and do that search, and now you can do that as well. And so you have that, okay? So now there's like thousands of those. And by the way, yeah, you can do comps, current comps. You can do comps from that time. Doesn't really matter. You can put any time frame you want in there, okay? All right. So let's see. What we've done, just to recap, is recapped the cold calling techniques, showed you how to find comps, getting ready for the listing meeting, how to export those to a file, how to pick up the phone, call the other owners of the comps, verify the information, get additional information, be prepared for the listing meeting, okay? So I'm going to toss it over to Brendan Erickson now. And let me get him this information. So, Brendan, I'm going to give it over to you.
Just using silence on you there, Warren. You there?
I'm here, Brendan. Take it away.
Okay, gotcha. Just kind of throwing that silence back at you. Hi, everyone. My name is Brendan, and what I am showing you on the screen now is a sample report that you are able to create with the data from REI or from Prospect Now. And just real quickly, if you can see on the screen here, I'm going to increase the size of this first report, but this is a sales comparable report, and it has summaries of all the different comparables and my subject property, building out averages and displays for the cap rate, the GRM, price per unit, and price per square foot. The report will then go in and actually highlight each and every property. You can add a photo, you can add your own notes, but as you can see here, the O'Connor Apartments, it is a 30-unit building sold for $2.2, price per unit, price per square foot, all the important data, the cap rate, unit mix, and information that is important to your sellers and your buyers. And what Warren was talking about was, you spark an interest generator with a client, and you're now going to meet them, and you want to have some good data, whether it's a first appointment where you're actually just introducing yourself and providing some data and gathering information, or it's a second appointment where you've already collected the books and records and you're going back and providing a full proposal. You're going to want to give them some nice presentations that they're going to keep and remember you by. And it's always important to be presenting yourself as a consummate professional in everything you do. And if we take a look at what an Excel spreadsheet looks like, it looks like this. All the data is there. It's got the address, the zip code. The core data is there. You've got your square feet, number of units, the average rent, all this information that is very important to sellers and buyers. But if you bring this on an appointment, exactly what you're seeing on the screen is what your client is going to see, and it's not very attractive. It's not very professional. It's hard to read. You don't really know what's going on. There's no comparison analysis. So what REI Wise does for you is we turn these Excel spreadsheets into a nice display like this, where you can quickly and easily provide reports, packages, all the data that your clients need in a nice branded presentation, which then would hopefully help you win the listing, or if you already have the listing and you're meeting with a buyer, you can present them all the information on why they should buy the asset. So that's our goal, and that's what our software does. We do work directly with Prospect Now. We don't provide any data. We are simply a financial analytical software with marketing components on the back end, and we work with various different data providers, which Prospect Now is definitely one of the best providers out there, because not only do they provide you with the actual property data and the tax records, they allow you to get in contact with the owners. So you can be creating, just like Warren was saying, going through and prospecting and picking up the phone, and as soon as you get a lead, export that data and create a quick report here in REI-Wise and go and meet with the person and hopefully begin a relationship where you win the listing and eventually close the deal. But so this is kind of the output that you're going to get, and you can see here as I turn the pages of the report, I can have as many comps as I want. In this example, I have 5. And it also will map all of your properties on a single map for you. That's all automated. That's all included in the service. But if you see over on the left-hand side, this is just one report. This is our sales comp report within a larger full analysis that we've provided to a buyer or seller. And you can see we have all the financials here. We can have the income and expense, the reports, all the way into a branded proposal or marketing package. This is the output. This is what you're going to be able to provide to every buyer or seller. Now let's talk about how this works. If you guys are not familiar with REI-Wise, we'll just start kind of where Warren left off. He's within Long Beach. I did a real quick search. I was trying to remember exactly what he put in as far as the parameters, but I put in Long Beach, I put in multifamily, and I have 59 records. I can choose a program to export. We've got REI-Wise there. We go ahead and select export, and it creates a Excel file. Now that Excel file, you're going to save that on your hard drive. And again, it looks exactly like this. There's my 59 records. They're all here. Long Beach, multifamily buildings. Warren was talking about contacting all of these owners. You definitely want to do that because the income numbers are not readily available. That is not part of tax records. But this is how you create your relationship with the client. You want to make sure that you're calling all of these owners of recently sold buildings, not only to access the information for yourself, but if you think about it, all of the people that are part of these sales, those are the most active people in the market today, and their information is vital. So when you contact them, you want to build rapport. You want to ask them a couple questions. I saw you just closed the building on 1234 Main Street. What was the income? What was the expense? Why did you purchase that? Are you in an exchange? All these great questions that you're asking, and you're going to fill out the rest of your spreadsheet here. We have areas for cap rate, GRM, vacancy, expenses, anything that you want to add in to the actual comp record, you add in here onto the Excel spreadsheet before you upload it. Once you're ready to upload it, you're going to access REI-Wise. And for those that are familiar with REI-Wise, we're 100% web-based. So what we do is we open up any internet browser that we have, just like Prospect Now, 100% cloud-based. You come into the investment analysis, and you're going to want to enter in your login ID and your password. And we'll talk about how you can access this if you guys don't have an account in just a little bit. But let's just take this as a demo for right now. This is my account. I logged in as Brendan Erickson. I actually worked multifamily in the Long Beach area, which is why Warren picked that, and it's great for the presentation because in my own account here, I've got what we call our comps manager. Now this is an interface that's all held online. But just imagine for every property that you are, I'm sorry, every property that you have a proposal, every listing that you have, you're going to be able to add the information in here. We store it online for you, but we also store all of your comparables data. So you can be tracking a market and storing all of your comps in what we call our comp manager, and then you can make reports in a click of a button. So let's go ahead and take a look at my comps manager. If you're an REI Wise member already, you're pretty familiar with this. You come up to the main menu bar, you place your mouse over managers, and your first option is your comps manager. That opens up an interface, which you can see on the screen here, where I can store all of my comps. And there you can see, remember I was telling you I worked Long Beach and multifamily. I've got all these comps in the Long Beach area, right? So all these properties are stored. I could have 5, I could have 10, I could have 1,000 different comps, however many you want. You can store them in REI Wise. It's live, it's backed up, it's on internet server, so if you're out on an iPad and you want to pull up these comp reports, you can do it right away. But if we take a look at this, any one of these comps, if I select it, you can see down below it has an option for me to upload a photo. I can put in notes. I can put in all the general property data. I can add in cap rates, income, expense. I can also add in the unit mixes if it's multifamily and put in an average rent for that unit mix. And it stores all this data for you, and it makes it now readily accessible to create reports. And I showed you that output at the beginning, but how it works with Prospect Now is we have this interface here where I can upload any file, and that file is in the parameters that was output by Prospect Now. So what Warren had done is exported that file to his desktop, and if you click on Upload File, all you need to do then is browse, and you can search for that property, search for that spreadsheet wherever it is on your hard drive, and there we go. I've got comps. Here's some old comp imports that I did, a triple net import, a comps import here, and I just go ahead and click Upload File, and it will bring in all of the data. I already have my comps up to date, so I'm not going to bring in those new 59 comps because then I would have duplicates, but as you can see, I can add in as many comps as I want, and they're all here to be accessed. If I wanted to view 925 Olive, I go ahead and select that, and here you can see that was a multifamily building. There's a photo that I added. It's got the price, it's got the date that it was sold, again the rents, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 2 baths, so on and so forth, and everything is stored online. Now what you can do real simply to create a report, if I wanted to create a report, is I just open up a new subject property, and like Warren was saying, if he's cold calling and finds an owner and they say have maybe, I don't know, a 30-unit building in Long Beach on 834 Main, I go ahead and put in the subject property as my title. Go ahead and add it in. It's a multifamily building. And let's go ahead and just add in the address because that's going to make sure that our maps are calculated correctly. And this is Long Beach 90813. And without doing anything else, I can go and create some, might as well put in the unit mixes and however many units we have. This is a 30-unit property. We'll just, for example, say it's a 30-unit property. And we'll put in an average price of, I don't know, $3 million, just so that we've got a comparison on our comps. But all I've done is I've put in the property name, I've put in the address and a price. I can jump right over to my proposal tab, and our proposal tab is where we make all of our reports. It's very simple, it's very easy. Our sales comps report is right here. If I wanted to create a very simple comps report, I can go ahead and check mark that, and if I go up and hit preview and save, it'll create a report. Now I did this on purpose. I've check marked it, yet it does not display anything. That's because I haven't selected my comps yet. All of my comps are held in my comps manager, and they're ready to be added to a report at any time. But if I want to create the report and select which comps I want to present, I come to this button right next to sales comps, and it's a very simple process of selecting the comps. and you have different options for presenting your report. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to include the charts and graphs, I'm going to include a map. I also have the ability to display on market versus sold versus in escrow, or I can complete them all together in one report, which is what I'm going to do today. But if you wanted to create different reports, you can partition them out by status. But what we're doing here is we've got sales comps. We're going to select our comps, and this screen is an interface between our comps manager on top and our report on the bottom. I'm just going to open this up and select multifamily. And remember, I was in the 90813 zip code. Go ahead and type in the zip code, hit refresh, and there's all my comps that I've added into my comps manager. Now, I can select any of these at any time. I could sort by price, by cap rate. Say I wanted the lowest cap rates. You know, I'm talking to a buyer and I want to show the value of all these different buildings. I go and highlight multiple comps, and I hit add comps, and now they've moved from my manager into my report. All I need to do is hit save, and all of the data from those comps are now in my sales comps report. With a click of a button, I hit preview and save, and now it's created a report with my own branding, and it's created the charts and graphs with all of the data that I've created. So here, you know, we didn't put in a cap rate for the subject property. We didn't put a GRM in there. We didn't put any income, but we did put in a price and a number of units, so it's calculating that. But it's pulling all the data directly from those comps that I chose. Remember, I selected 5. So I've got 5 different comps. The average cap rate, 5.89, makes that chart instantly. And then down below, we now have a summary of each and every comp, pulling in the data from my comps manager. So there we go. We've got 5 comps, and look at that. We've now got a map there, and it shows you our subject property on 834 Main, and then our 5 comps all around it. Now, it's really simple if you wanted to create this, say, instead of just 5 comps. Let's go back to our select comps, and let's again do multifamily, and let's just do them all in 90813. Refresh, and I'm just going to select them all, right? I'm going to click that top one, and then I'm going to go down to the bottom one, and I'm going to hold down Shift, and that'll highlight all of them. I hit Add Comps, and now I've got probably 40 or 50 comps in there, right? I'm going to go ahead and hit Save, and if I preview and save, now it's going to go out and it's going to create a whole brand new comps report. So instead of just 5, it's going to create a zip code wide report, and we're going to be able to see the average cap rates, the average price per units for over 30, 40 buildings. And there we go. There we have our report. As you can see, it's dynamic. It works automatically. We've got 24 comps now, and you can see the average comp is 6.897 cap, 8.6 GRM, price per unit, price per square foot, and then if we have the detailed reports, it shows each and every comp. So you can see where I'm going with this is you can effectively start tracking all of your market data and building up a queue of comps. And that way, whenever you hang up the phone from a good, solid cold call and someone says, yeah, Warren, I am ready to sell my property, bring me over some comps. You don't have to then go out and search for the comps. You don't have to go out and update it. If you're just adding these one by one every time there's a new comp, we store it all in here, and you can come and create this report. And again, you can then print it out and give it to your client, and it will all be branded with your name and your company logo, and you can make a really good presentation. Now, in this case, we have, let's go all the way down to the bottom and see how many comps I pulled in. 24, right? So I have 24 different properties. If you're going on a first appointment, you may give all the data and you say, hey, look, all this data is here for you. If you want to do a specific analysis on your property, I'll go back and I'll analyze these different properties. I'll figure out which one of these properties is most comparable to yours, maybe select 5 or 6, and I'll run my full analysis, and I can provide a full report at that time. This data can be great as interest generators, but then again, you go ahead and you use it when you're doing the full analysis. And that's what REI-Wise allows you to do with the subject property. Here you could come back and you could add in all the information about the asset. You could add in charts and graphs for the financing quotes. You add in all the income and expense for each unit, and what it does is it creates a full projection of the income and expense over time. And since I just opened this one and I don't want to waste time by adding in data, I'm just going to open up an existing multifamily building that I have. Here's one in Long Beach, 800 rows. This was actually a deal I worked on for a while. But you can add in all of the information. You can see the financing quotes. You add in the income. You add in the expense. It'll build your projections for you over time. And then you can come to your proposal tab and you simply check mark all the different reports that you want, pro forma summaries, unit mixes, everything there, plus your comps that you've imported and created from Prospect Now. And in just about a half an hour, I would say, for a multifamily building, you can create a full-fledged proposal that rivals any of the major brokerage firms out there that are creating packages, to go on a proposal or a meeting with a buyer when you're trying to sell a listed building. But here you can see now this is a 27-page document. It's got a cover page, table of contents there. If you wanted to see the property overview, you can add in all the information, photos. But then if you wanted to support the pricing that you're putting in here, and here's all the financials, the cap rate, the price, everything that you're doing, your pro forma summary. But then there you go, you've got your comps right here. And it again is in a nice report form. It shows the subject property versus all the comparables, why this would be a good investment. And this is really important when you're talking to a seller. You're trying to lower their expectations of price, because we all know how sellers are always thinking that their property is better than anyone out there. But when you can hit them hard with good data and tell them, hey, look, if we price this building at a 5 cap, we're going to be well below the most comparable properties. And you can put this together in a nice chart right here. And if our subject property was well below our most recent comparables, we're going to have a hard time selling the building. We're going to have a hard time getting financing on the building. It's just going to be difficult. So you want to provide this data to the seller when you're talking about putting it on the market and selecting a price that you want to put it on the market. But these charts and graphs, like I was alluding to there, when you're getting the financing, these can also be very helpful because you're providing this data to the lenders. And the lenders need to see comps, right? They need to have appraisals. They need to be able to value the building based on other buildings that have closed recently. And you can go ahead and create these charts and graphs and supply them with the data. And again, you can add all of your own notes in here. So when we come down to each comparable, you can see here where it says enter notes here. If you know 450 Orange and yeah, maybe it sold at 115 a unit, but it was in bad condition, or it was in really good condition, or it had some extraneous items that may have added or deleted from the price, you can add in your notes here. And again, you add in your own photos. Here's one that had seller financing, so maybe that price is a little bit inflated. But you go and you create the photos, you create the notes, so you add your value as a broker, which when we're talking about preparing for a meeting, you want to really think about what who you're talking to, why you're talking to them, what the goal is of the meeting, and you want to have this data ready to support all of your plans and your valuation of the asset. But again, it's very, very easy to create. You can create these once you have all the data in your account just with a couple clicks of the button. It's very simple. Just come in and select your comps. We also have a full rent comp portion. So while you are cold calling through Prospect Now, one of my best cold calls was always just calling, and if they said, why are you calling me? Well, you're a broker. You say, well, I'm very active in the market. I see you own a property at 1033 Hoffman. I was just doing a rent survey because I have active clients in the area that are buying properties, and I need to make sure that the rents in the area are comparable with the asset they're looking to buy. and you can do those rent comps, and you can add them into your comps manager as well. Every property does accept the rent comps, and you can create reports on those as well, which is another great lead generation for you when you're on the phones. Hey, I just called the neighbor next to you. He's getting $1,100 for a one-bedroom. I see you're only getting $850. Can I come over and we talk about how you're losing value just by your rents being a little bit low, and what that impact would be if you did wish to sell anytime in the future or refinance in the future. So there's a lot of different capabilities you can use here. Again, my name is Brendan. I work with REI Wise. If anybody is interested in our product, just come to our homepage. All the information is here. We're called REI Wise. Our product is Power Broker, and you just come in to Products and Power Broker, and that's where you can get up and running. But what I'll do is I'll type in my email address to Warren here, and he can send that out to everyone. If you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask me, if you want a free trial of REI Wise to see how you can make these reports, feel free to contact me. And I really appreciate the time that you guys have spent. I hope it's been valuable. I hope you can use some of the different products that are out there to win more business and close more deals. So with that, Warren, I'll throw it back to you.
Brendan, thank you very much. That was, every time I see that you use that product, it just blows me away. Just
it's
the
pretty cool, isn't it?
It is amazing, and so I want to thank Brendan for being here and really being the meat of the presentation and showing you, how you can really be prepared for this listing meeting, how you can win that listing and get that exclusive listing. And so what I'd like to do is kind of just wrap up here really quickly. Let's go through this real quick. We talked about all that. There's Brendan. Yeah, just kind of go through what Prospect Now is. Again, it's a subscription-based service. It's a month-to-month with no contract, and you can cancel at any time. It's $89. That gets you one user in one county a month, and you can do unlimited searches. You can add counties. You get exports, and you can do unlimited mailings off the site. If you want to buy an annual, we give you a 10% discount. We give you a bunch of exports up front, and you get 3 free counties. So that's our standard pricing.
Hey, and Warren, I'll just mention something real quick. For those that are looking at purchasing Prospect Now as a broker that use different services to provide comps, Prospect Now is awesome because of the fact that it gives you the contact numbers of the owners. One of the most embarrassing times in my life was I went on an appointment. I thought I was completely prepared, and I had, a comp in my proposal, and I had just taken the data from, one of the different data providers that are out there, and I never called the owner, and I didn't really realize it, but the owner was part of the ownership, or the person that I was talking to was part of the ownership entity, and the values that I had in there were wrong. I had just taken data from a data provider and assumed it was correct, and during the meeting they said, oh, I'm part owner of that building. These numbers are wrong. And everything I did from that point forward, I had egg on my face. It was really embarrassing. And the best thing about Prospect Now is it gives you the numbers, so when you get a comp, you can call the owner and actually talk to them and get the nitty-gritty on the deal instead of just accepting some data that's provided to you by a big company that is just providing data. And it's a big, big difference. So people that are out there thinking about doing this, it's the best way to get in contact with all the players out there and get the real story. And then when you're on your meetings, you can say, yeah, I've talked to this owner. I know why they bought that building. I know why they sold it, instead of just saying, here's the numbers. And it really adds value and really puts you in a whole different category when you're talking to the owners and the buyers.
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to add that in.
No, that's great, Brendan. I mean, real-world experience, both positive and negative, from a former broker. And so, to me, those are the kind of things that just bring it to the forefront of why, obviously Prospect Now, but also REI Wise is so important to your business. It is important to talk to the owners, to verify what you're seeing. ask the questions, fill in the gaps, get the backstory. You're going to be so far ahead of anybody else that isn't doing that, it's not even funny. So with that, we do have a special today. I can't really tell you what it is online here, but if you call us, we'll let you know. It's only going to be good for the end of the day till the end of the day tomorrow. Okay, so give us a call, and we'll be happy to extend that special offer to you. If Brendan has one, you can either talk about it now. I'm sure you'll hear from him via email or something of that nature.
Absolutely, Warren. If you'll be so kind as just give me a list of all the people that are on the webinar, I'll shoot you guys all an email with a 20% discount off of our pricing.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Thanks so much for doing that.
You bet.
And I'll do that for you. Here's our contact information. Hopefully I have Brendan's correct, but there it is right there if you want to call or email him directly and ask any questions or get a demo or what have you.
That is correct.
Right there. And mine's at the top. Feel free to just give us a call and ask questions. We have people standing by ready to do demos for you or whatever, but we do have a special offer for you. It's going to be a discounted price and some freebies, so give us a call. And with that, we're going to end today's webinar. I want to thank you on behalf of Brendan for attending today and taking the time. Hopefully you find it informative, but more than that, take what you need out of it and use it. And use it in what you're doing today, and I think you'll find yourself to be a better broker for it. So
yeah,
Brendan,
hey, there's one thing I forgot to mention, Warren. I jotted down some notes as you were talking, and I was just trying to pull on my real-life experience. But every time I got a proposal, I always thought, okay, I've got this one proposal to do. But if you're calling all the comps, that turns into 2 or 3 more proposals because you're saying, hey, I'm doing a proposal and I need to talk to you about your building that's sold or that you bought. Hey, by the way, are you looking for analysis on your building now? And if you view every contact that you call, to verify a comp as also a lead, you're going to sprout up all these other leads, and sooner than later, instead of just doing one proposal and providing the information, you've got 2 or 3 coming just from the cold calls you're making to verify all the data.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Leverage that call into many other meetings. Exactly. All right, Brendan, thanks very much. Thanks, everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we thank you again. Have a great day.
Thanks, Warren.
You're welcome. Thank you, Brendan.
Bye.
Bye.